I think it's about, it requires assessment, like maybe a short quiz tomorrow or next week. Long-term memory, short-term memory, if these bits of information stayed in their memory. But students are mostly passive, so they are, I think, scared of literary texts, especially poetry.
Because of us?
No. I think poetry is, for many students all around the world, is scary. They think that poetry is somewhere up there, Like poetry is the most difficult art in literature.
I think because for the circle of definite people.
Exactly. Yeah, for intellectuals maybe. Yeah. So in that sense, I don't know if I achieved the task or the goals of my lesson plan. As I've mentioned a few seconds earlier, I need a quiz to check on if they, learned something out of it.
It will be learned after the quiz maybe.
Yeah, but one thing for sure, such applications synthesize students. They will remember that somewhere there is a relationship between sounds and meanings. So in that sense, I think such applications are useful. And I think in that sense, not me personally, but the lesson plan achieved its goals.
Ария, вот это был тебя? Ария с третьего. А это кто? Это второй курс. Алдия.
Because of this fact that it's second year students, that's why they are embarrassed and they do not have such kind of disciplines as statistics and maybe yet yes, maybe they do not know some of the terms, literary terms. That's why they think a lot of the notions, yes, and some.
Have you checked you asked a similar question yesterday. I applied here through a program. Have you seen my program before I came here?
Yes.
Yes? And in my program...
Your courses, the name of your courses or your lessons.
So, weren't you aware that these courses were not suitable for these kids?
No, I think it's suitable. It's necessary.
Oh, okay, so it's okay.
It's necessary for them in any way.
Okay, so what's your point?
Don't worry about it. I mean that maybe if it were, for example, third year students, it would be easier for you to conduct the lesson maybe. Because, no, maybe not.
Maybe it will be more active.
Yeah, the point is that I think there might be a mismatch between my application and me being placed here. Because, these were the stuff I was going to talk about. And they're all reflected in my research. So I think it is good for second year students because these questions are not difficult. I'm asking students to, tell me which consonant sound is repeated. This is not a very difficult question. Or describe a sculpture. Tanya, students are supposed to describe that sculpture when they are A1 level learners. That is to say, within the first month, they can use the adjectives. So I don't think my tasks were difficult. It's not about being second year students, but they see a sculpture they cannot describe. This is A1 level.
Everything is shown and everything is very simple, and the question also is very simple. But maybe they are accustomed to prepare to get ready for the complicated questions. That's why maybe they are not active in their way.
Yeah, maybe you should ask them more, complicated questions because these questions are found found similar questions are found in any A1 level English language course book. They just describe a visual material.
But in the real, they can describe everything, at every lesson we describe from episodes, from films.
So why can't they describe them in my class, if that's the question?
We describe, for example, different pictures from prose, from style, from literature.
Yes.
For example, at my lessons, I did extracts from Jane Eyre, Charlotte Bronte Jane Eyre.
I'm sure you do.
Yes, mute.
No, I'm sure you do. But the point is, Tanya asks, she implies that, my tasks were difficult for these learners. But you are saying that you do that on a weekly basis. So I don't understand if students do that in your classes, but not here.
The third year courses, beginning from
No, I just mean that it would be easier for you to work with third-year students than with second-year students, because they do not have
because they have more theoretical courses.
Yes.
I think first-year students can do that as well. The task was not difficult at all. It was just, one rule, one application. And
no, the tasks were so all appropriate, but today they are behaving.
Yes, everything you do is perfect.
No, I understand. The thing is that I think it's about challenging students. It's not about giving them tasks they can complete. Giving them tasks so that they struggle.
They can do everything.
There must be a gap. For instance, these days, all around the world, we are using which methodology? Which English language teaching methodology? Communicative, right?
Yes.
What is the major rule of communicative language teaching? There must be. Which separates communicative language teaching from all other methods and techniques, you might say, or approaches? Infogap. There must be infogap, which means that, the course books, I saw your course books, they are based on infogap. There must be a distance between what you say as a speaker and what they know. So they have to fill this gap. This is the, rule of 21st century language teaching, infogap. So I think that is the major point we have to make here. But, it depends. Sometimes students are not very talkative.
No, sometimes. At another lessons they are so talkative, maybe.
Maybe they felt different because other professors were here. Maybe they didn't know what was happening.
That's why before you maybe.
Yeah, and people were coming and going and phones were ringing, students' phones, so maybe they were just carried away. I don't know. But I enjoyed the class. They were eager. I could see in their eyes that they were interested in what was happening.
Are the students better than the other groups from other groups? This is a Russian group.
We're okay.
I wanted to analyze after each your lessons the students' participation and their behavior as a lesson, their voyage. Maybe we do it to analyze their participation, their behavior as each lesson after the lesson.
Who?
We.
Oh, you. Okay.
Once a week or twice a week.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So since you know the students, I think you can do it better than I do because I don't really know.
And to find out where, for example, what things or what size to pay attention to, we must. For example. What must we pay attention to? What are their weak points?
Students?
Yes, weak points in short.
Well, it's a general rule. It's the case in Turkey. It's the case in Kazakhstan. My friends in the United States tell me the same thing. They do not study. They are not motivated, they do not really believe in the value of education. So primarily I think it's about the students. And even research says that students are not motivated. And yesterday, for instance, I told the students the same thing again, that they have to read and watch and write and speak and listen. So it's about themselves. They give little time to study, and they say it. My students in Turkey, Kazakh students here, they say it. Only in school they study, most of them. If there is homework, they do something, but other than that, they tell in Turkey, in Kazakhstan, Romania, everywhere, that students do not really give much time to study, unfortunately.
Thank you for your demo.
How did you like the lesson, apart from all these issues? Do you think it was visually appealing or informative?
So yes, for me it was very informative and helpful for me because we used to apply some everyday maybe approaches and to prepare the task for the students and then to, for example, to evaluate them, and this is all. Because our students used to learn in this way. Because if there is no task, if there is no assumption, they cannot work. But your lessons, for example, are helpful and they are different from our lessons with the fact that you make them think. Make them think. For example, if something is not clear for them, you try to come from another side and to do it as simply as you can, and then they think whatever
Yes.
they want or not, for example.
I agree with you. In that sense, my courses are pretty difficult for learners because I tackle students' higher order skills like interpretation.
Higher order skills.
Yeah, rather than like that content knowledge, pedagogical content
So
knowledge.
usually they need marks every day, marks or after the lesson. By the end of the lesson, they need marks as at school.
I see.
They want to be evaluated.
Evaluated.
Marks for example, today I will be 5, today I will be 3 because we were not active. But she was very active, that's why. And it motivates them. And for the next lesson, for example, Aldia will come with his maybe own poems of different authors in order to compare. Maybe in this way.
Yeah. In my experience, my classes in Turkey, I challenge the students and I make them talk, and then, in a couple of weeks, I just stop, write a keyword, and then they start producing. Because I tell them I'm not going to speak anymore. Okay? It is their task to, take the responsibility for their learning. And it's my second week. It's my third. Now I have finished my second week, and
And
this is the
sometimes we
third
ask
week.
questions. Did you like or have you liked or did you like this lesson? Or did you enjoy or not each of them? Maybe they in this way describe them. Because of course it may be very cool. Students may describe our lesson.
Yeah. I asked this question, but I didn't have time because someone started to applaud. So,
because of he was very enjoyed. Maybe he enjoyed the lesson.
yeah, maybe he was also, there was a camera and they like me and they want to show their support.
There are how many years
There was, performance happening, so, yeah.
So let me, if you would.
Sure.
Few words.
Thank you very much for your great lesson. So I like your lesson. I like the way you explain the material. It's your subject. You know it more than I do. That's why Thank you very much. And now, as Tanya has said, if you take the 30 students, maybe the lesson would be interesting then.
More active.
So it would be a good idea.
Me too.
Tomorrow I have a third year group.
Let's compare.
Yes.
Easy.
Huh?
Whose group? Tatiana's or Aisa's?
I don't know. You said third year. It is third year. So tomorrow, let's get together again, and I will do the same performance.
For
Okay.
I mean, if the students were active, the lesson would be more interesting than today.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think it was okay because it was challenging. It's normal. Sometimes, yes, sometimes to develop students' higher order skills, they cannot really, you cannot really see their production. It happens first in the internal sphere, in the basis, like from a Vygotskian perspective. Sociocultural theory, right? So they first have to internalize it. They struggle with the material. So it is not easy for everyone. Like even if you show it to doctoral students, they can find it difficult because at every level we have different concerns. Our mental sets work on different ways. We cannot really control it. So it's okay, I think. It is, in my classes, there is always a place for questioning, not answering, thinking, confusion. It's okay. The point is to keep students busy, mentally, as well as pedagogically, like giving them tasks and so on. But mentally, it's not only about knowledge, it's also about experience. Knowledge given is one thing, but making them experience is another. And research tells us that, like for instance here it says 5 steps to action research, but making sense of experience. And there also, you also talk about, experience, domains of knowledge, experiencing. So it's the backbone of education, experiencing. It's not like you give the rules and we all know that it doesn't work.
So main task of the teacher to make best students
experience new things. I think experiencing new things. Not only knowledge pieces, but also experiences. I think that's very important. Books they can read, they should read, but the experience they get is totally different, I believe.
Thank you very much.
Thank